Hey, young Einsteins, it's Miss Ventola here, and I'm with Mr. K today, and we are here to do your very first Young Einsteins Read Aloud story time. Virtually, we have a really awesome book to read today, and after we read the book, we're going to make a fun craft to go with it that you can make at home with us, because you have all the things that you need to make it in the backpack that Mr. K and I dropped off at your house. So you are already all set to make our fun craft. So the book we're reading today is called The Bad Seed. So I'm going to read part of it to you guys today, and after we read them, we'll do the craft. Does that sound good, Mr. K?
Awesome. I'm super excited.
All right, let's get started. I'm going to turn my camera around so that you can see the book. All right. Here we go. The Bad Seed. Okay, his funny little face. This is written by Jory John and illustrated by Pete Oswald. The Bad Seed. I'm a bad seed. A bad seed. Oh yeah, it's true. The other seeds, they look at me and they say, that seed is so bad. When they think I'm not listening, they mumble, there goes a bad seed. But I can hear them. I have good hearing for a seed. How bad am I? You really want to know? Well, I never put things back where they belong. I'm late to everything. I tell long jokes with no punchlines. I never wash my hands or my feet. Ew. I lie about pointless stuff. I cut in line every time. I stare at everybody. I glare at everybody. I finish everybody's sentences and I never listen. And I know I do lots of other bad things too. Know why? Because I'm a bad seed. I'm wondering, what kind of things does the seed do that makes him think that he's bad? What are some things you heard in the story? Maybe some things that were bad choices that the bad seed did. You can pause the video right here and find the pause button on your tablet or on your phone and tell someone at home, what are some things that you saw in the story? I'm going to keep reading. When you're done telling someone at home, you can press play again. I'm a bad seed. I just can't help it. Sure, I wasn't always this bad. I was born a humble seed on a simple, do you know what kind of flower that is? Yeah, it's a sunflower. I was born on a simple sunflower in an unremarkable field. I had a big family. Do you know sunflower seeds grow right in the middle of the sunflower? There's the bad seed and all his family members. There were seeds everywhere. We found ways of having fun. We were close. But then the petals dropped. And our flower drooped. Look what's happening to all the bad seed, or this bad seed in his family. Falling out of their flower. It's kind of a blur. What do you notice that's happening on this page? What do you think's happening to the bad seed? Look at how his face looks and his family members' faces. What's happening, or how might they be feeling? You can pause the video here and tell someone at home, what do you think's happening on this page? Mr. K, what do you think's happening here?
It looks to me like the bad seed and his family are running away from something, like they're scared.
Could you tell by looking at their faces?
I could, and I know from my extensive gardening experience that that looks like a certain tool that's used in gardening. I wonder what that is.
This tool right here?
Yep.
Maybe our friends at home know what that's called. And maybe they can infer, that means think about, they can infer what could be happening to the seeds and who might be holding this tool. I'm going to keep reading. I remember a bag. Have you ever seen anything that looks like this? Maybe you've seen it at the store, or maybe you've seen it in your house. What could be happening on this page of the story? Maybe you can tell someone at home, like a brother or a sister. What do you think the author is showing us this picture for? Everything went dark. Look at the bad seed's face. Mr. K, where do you think the bad seed is right now?
That's a really good question, Miss Emily. I'm going to infer that he might be in the bag of sunflower seeds.
Oh, that we saw on the other page.
Yeah, that one.
So the author showed us this page of sunflower seeds and then showed us this page that's like all dark. And so as the reader, we're supposed to infer, that means think about, maybe the bad seed is inside the bag now. At the bottom here it says, and then a giant. Look what's happening on this page. Here's the same bag that we saw from before. And the bad seed tells us that he sees a giant. Who do you think this might be? Or what do you think is happening on this page? Remember, if you want, you can pause the video here and tell someone at home. What's happening? What is the author showing us here? What do you see, Mr. K? What do you think is happening?
I think that the sunflower, the bad seed, he was in the bag, and now since he's just a sunflower and he's really small, he thinks that a regular person, like that guy in the yellow shirt, to him, to the bad seed, that regular person looks like a giant. And I'm sad to say that it looks like the giant man is devouring or eating some of the sunflower seeds at a baseball game.
Oh, and I can even see that if I look really close. Look, there's the tiny little bad seed about to be eaten by the man at the baseball game. That was a good inference you made, Mr. K. I'm wondering what happened to the bad seed that might have made him turn into the bad seed. We know he started off his life in a sunflower with his family, and then he got put into the bag with all the other sunflower seeds. We can tell that he was looking pretty scared. We said that. And now he's about to be eaten by a man at a baseball game. So I'm wondering if you can think at home, what might have happened to the seed that made him turn into the bad seed? Maybe you can pause the video here again and tell someone else at home, why do you think the bad seed became the bad seed? Mr. K, do you have any predictions for what's going to happen in our story?
I predict that the bad seed went through a pretty challenging time, like almost being eaten by a giant man, and maybe some sad stuff happened to him, and that's why he became a little angry and chose to make some bad choices.
Oh, so you think we might find out next in the story that that's why he became the bad seed? I agree. I'm thinking about how much the bad seed loved his family and how happy they were. And I'm thinking about how the bad seed must be feeling now that he's not with his family anymore. I'm thinking that if that happened to me, I would probably be feeling really sad and maybe lonely and maybe even scared like the bad seed was in these pictures. So I'm thinking that maybe that's the reason he turned into the bad seed. Sometimes when really bad things happen to us, it can make us feel pretty sad and maybe even lead us to make some choices that aren't so good. So that's what I'm thinking we might see next in the book. But we are going to have to wait until next week to find out what happens to the bad seed. I'm going to flip my camera back around for a second. So friends, that was the start of the bad seed book. And we know that some bad things, bad choices were made by the bad seed, right? Like he cut in line and he would lie about things and he was not a good listener. And I'm wondering if you can make a connection at home about maybe a time when you made a choice that was not such a good choice. Have you ever made a bad choice like the bad seed? Think about that at home. Is there a time when you kind of acted the same way that the bad seed acts in the story? Think about it. Mr. K, have you ever made a choice like the bad seed that wasn't such a good choice?
Yeah, I have made bad choices before, and I'm trying to learn. I have learned from them. One bad choice that I made was I pushed my brother one time when he took my popsicle from me, and I was upset, so I pushed him. And after a little bit of time, I got to talk to him, and since he's my brother, I apologized and said I was sorry, and I never pushed him again because I love him.
Thanks for sharing that, Mr. K. That makes me think about something that I did when I was a kid that was not a good choice. And you remember the part in the book where the bad seed said that he lies about pointless stuff? Well, one time I broke something that belonged to my mom and I lied and said that my sister broke it instead. And that wasn't true. It was me. But I lied because I didn't want to get in trouble. But eventually I decided like I couldn't let my sister get in trouble when it really was my fault. So I had to tell my mom, not only did I break her things, but I also lied to her about it. And she wasn't happy with me. But I said I was sorry. And eventually she decided to forgive me, which usually people do if you say sorry, but they might be upset at you for a while. But she forgave me. So that is what I was thinking of when I was reading the Bad Seed book. Okay, are you guys ready for a fun craft to go with it? I can't wait. I made actually an example of the craft that we are going to make today. So I'm going to show you what it is. I'm going to flip my camera back around. So in the book, The Bad Seed, he and his family lived on a flower, remember, that we said was called a sunflower. And that's what we're going to make today. So I have an example to show you. You ready to see it? There's our sunflower. This is what we're going to be making today. So you can make this with me. Now, if you need to pause the video to get your stuff to make it, you can do that at any time. Just press pause, and when you're ready, you press play, and then you can keep going. So in your backpack, you have a bag that looks like this, and it says The Bad Seed on it. So you need to go to your backpack and get this bag, The Bad Seed, because we need stuff in this bag. And you also need a pair of scissors. So ask mom or dad or grandma or whoever's at home, ask them if they have a pair of scissors that you can use to make this. So make sure you're being really, really careful with them. Okay, and when you have all your stuff, you can press play on the video and we'll keep going. So what you need to do, we're going to get some of the things out of this bag, but not everything. So you need to get the yellow piece of paper. You need the black piece of paper. And you need the green piece of paper. The white pieces of paper, just leave them in there. We're going to use those next week. And you also need the popsicle stick. So get all of that out of your bag. And the first thing that we need to use is the black sheet of paper. So get that out first. Now, if you notice on my example, you might have seen that there's a black circle stuck right onto the popsicle stick. So we're going to make that first. So use a pencil. You can use any kind of pencil, maybe one that was in the backpack that we gave you. Get a pencil and draw a circle on your black paper. Now, you could just draw it yourself because it doesn't have to be perfect. Or you could like get a cup or something that's round and trace it if you want to do that. But I'm just going to draw mine. I'm going to do the best that I can. Good thing about art is that it doesn't have to be perfect. You can make things look however you want it to look. So there's my circle. When your circle is ready, cut it out. Remember, if I'm going too fast for you, you can always pause and catch up, and then you can press play again. Okay, there's my black circle, all ready to go. Next thing that I need to do is get my yellow piece of paper. So get your big yellow piece of paper out that we just got out of your bag. And notice how I have it this way, like the long way. We don't want it to be like this. We want it to be so that the long way is facing you. So when you have your paper like this, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to cut out strips of the paper. Maybe you've done this before, like in art class, but I'm going to cut from the bottom to the top all the way across so that I can cut out these strips of yellow. So watch where my scissors go. I'm putting them down at the bottom. It doesn't matter how big or small you make them. You can make them whatever size you want. but you just go right from the bottom to the top. You're going to do that for the whole paper. You could make some of them big, maybe some of them smaller. It's up to you. Now, I'm cutting pretty fast because, you know, I've been cutting for a long time. So you can always pause the video. And when you're done, you press play again. Just take your time. Make sure that you aren't rushing. Okay, there we go. So now I have all my strips of yellow, and this is what I'm going to use to make the flower petals, like on my example. Now on the example, I made kind of these loops, so I'll show you how to make that. But you can also make it a different way. I have another example here that I made yesterday that just has, you know, little strips of paper glued onto it. So there's a couple choices. So I'll start with just cutting little strips. So I might take one of my long pieces of yellow and just cut it into little flower petal strips. And then you can take your glue stick that's in your backpack, take your glue stick and put a little bit of glue and stick the petal onto the flower. And this is pretty easy. You just put them wherever you want it to go. You can make them close together, or you could spread them apart if you want. If you want to put like a little space in between them, you can do it like that. You can make your petals long or short, however you want them to look. So that's one way to do it. Just stick them right on like that. If you want to make the loops like I have on this other one, I'll show you how to do that too. So I'm going to take another one of my long strips. Maybe I'll cut a little bit off. And I'm going to start by putting glue on one end. And then I'm going to stick it to the back of my black circle and press it on. So notice how that one's on the back. Then I'm going to put glue on the other end and make it loop around. And this one you're going to stick on the front. And see how that makes a loop like that? And I'll just press it down. And then I have a loop. So you can make the flower however you want. Maybe you want to do some loops and some not loops. So I'll try to finish mine pretty quickly so I can show you. It might take you a little bit of time, but you'll get it. Mr. K, have you ever made a sunflower at home?
I did. I made one yesterday, and I chose to do the loops. I like the loops that you showed everybody how to make. It was really pretty. And my sunflower seeds, I glued them in the middle, and I glued a happy face out of the sunflower seeds.
Oh my goodness, that sounds so creative. Yesterday, we had some other young Einsteins friends watch the video live with us. So we got to make the sunflower with some of the friends yesterday. And they had really creative ones. And they even sent pictures to us so we could see them. Okay, almost done. This one will be a really long petal. Okay, all set. So when you have all of your petals glued onto your sunflower, then it's time for the next step. So the next step, we need the green sheet of paper. What do you think we're gonna make with this green sheet of paper, Mr. K?
I know that sunflowers have petals seeds, stems, and leaves. So if I'm going to pick one of those that you're going to make with the green, you're going to do the leaves, I bet.
That was a great inference. Yeah, we think about all the parts of a plant that maybe you learned about at school. Leaves are one of them, they're important. So I'm gonna draw them on my green sheet of paper. Now you can make your leaves look whatever shape you want, because leaves come in lots of shapes. Some of them kind of look like a teardrop. Some of them are like long and skinny and they're kind of pointed on both ends. Or you could make a shorter one. You can make them whatever shape you want them to be. It's up to you. But once you've made them or drawn them on your paper, then it's time to cut them out. You could just do one leaf if you want, or you could do a lot of leaves. It's your project, so you can make it look however you want. Okay, there are my leaves. So next up, we need the popsicle stick, and this is going to be the stem of our flower. So what I need to do first is glue my flower with the petals on it to the stem. So I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to put a big blob of glue on the back of my sunflower. Maybe you can even put some on the end of your stick too, make it super sticky. And then I'm gonna press it on. Now this is pretty big, so it might need you to press it for a while. So I just take my fingers and press pretty hard to get it to really stick. There we go. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with my leaves. So I'm just gonna put some glue on the bottom of my leaf here. And maybe this one's gonna go up here at the top. And then my other one, I'm gonna put some glue on and glue it, maybe down here on the bottom. And there's my sunflower. And there's only one thing missing. Mr. K, do you know what's missing from my sunflower still?
I do know what's missing from your sunflower. In the story about the bad seed, you showed us that the seeds are all in the middle of the sunflower. So I think you're gonna put the seeds that are in the bag within the backpack, and they're gonna somehow we got to get them to be put on in the middle of the sunflower.
Yeah, that's right. We're missing the seeds. And Mr. K is right. They're in the bag. Maybe you already noticed them. But I'm gonna get some of the sunflower seeds out from the bag. And I'm gonna stick them in the middle of the sunflower. Now, you're probably not gonna get them to stick with a glue stick, because glue sticks, they're not really sticky enough to make the sunflower seeds stick. So what you can do is you can look at home and see if you have any liquid glue. Like I have this bottle of liquid glue at my house, and liquid glue is a lot stickier than a glue stick. So you can get like a blob of the glue and then stick the sunflower in it, and then it won't fall off. Now, if you don't have liquid glue at home, that's okay. Like a white crayon, and draw a picture of the seeds in the middle of your flower. Maybe you're like, you know what? I just want to eat my sunflower seeds because they're delicious. And you could do that too. You could cut sunflower seeds out of paper and then glue them into the middle. There's lots of ways that you could still do this part, even if you don't have liquid glue at home. All right, I'll glue one more and then that'll be good for now. There we go. And that is our sunflower. What do you think, Mr. K?
I love it. And I love it that you put 6 sunflower seeds in the middle. Maybe, like you said, you can cut a couple of seeds out and put them in. You can draw a couple, and then it allows you to eat the rest of the sunflower seeds because, like you said, they are delicious. I actually prefer the barbecue flavored sunflower seeds. Make sure if you're going
Oh.
to eat them, you take the shell and get the seed in the middle because that's the part that you're supposed to eat. And hopefully you guys enjoy making the sunflower and having a little snack while you do it.
Yep. And we will be back next Wednesday so that we can finish the Bad Seed book. So if you can join the Zoom with us at 5 o'clock on Wednesday. And then you get to make it with me and Mr. K and some of our other friends from Young Einsteins. But we'll also send another video out for the next craft also. We have a new craft for our story next week. So we will see you then. Bye, Young Einsteins.
Bye, everybody.